an example of some of the editor tools that we build. In this case, we got a structure builder using the Unity native transform handles and a stack of prefabs and a Gizmo operable script that allows you to quickly put together assets that your team or pipeline may have already supplied to you. In this case, we're assembling a space station, Station Alpha, as we port all of the game assets for this project into a new version. And so I wanted to make some constructor tools because eventually in this particular game we'll be doing things like colonizing the moon, colonizing Mars, other planets, other bodies, maybe setting up base camps at certain remote areas on the Earth as well. So those would be different stacks of assets with different tile sets. But the basic gist of the whole thing is that any given prefab or structure would have one or more anchor points on it, and that's what you can see are snapping to as I kind of look around. And so we're adding launch bays and control towers, and those all have operable doors on them that have been put together and scripted and linked up separately. The little air tanks on there fill up with gas and track numbers and all of that sort of stuff. So it's a modular space station that I'm kind of putting together on the editor side in preparation for nesting it in a scene, probably in a sub scene, so you'll be able to fly around the solar system and do this in different places. But this would be the primary spot where you're starting to get missions from. But just an example of what you can do in Unity, using sort of intermediate pipeline tools after you've gone through and meshed something out, and then taken it in and given it all of its textures and gone through and done all the lighting and all of those sorts of things and embedded all the new, scripts and components. Like you can see those regions there that are the sort of green highlights over the windows are where the lighting is allowed to pass through the object, even though it's a solid body. And so that way you can catch the sunlight through the glass and still get the reflection of it. Certain things you have to add after you bring it out of modeling. Then you end up with these prefabs, and they can be complex objects, but if you've done your homework setting up the initial models, you should be able to snap the profiles into each other. So, we have a couple key things. One is the ring, and the other is the sort of spoke hallway in here. So as long as you get your anchors right, you can just drag them in and they snap there, like anything in 5 meters, for instance, the way that's set up currently. But this could be done with cave tunnels or a castle or, a house or anything like that. And they just all have drag handles on them. And they're pretty much just set up. You can see they'll turn automatically if they need to snap in at a different angle. So all that stuff's customizable, and you just drop easy anchors on things. But yeah, so that's the kind of stuff we do in house when we're thinking about, how are we going to afford this to a user. We'll come up with a different, a little bit more stylized UI on the front end so that people would be able to drag. And I would probably do it by screen space projecting into world space at a certain depth, somewhere around how you can see like there's a column there. So somewhere around the center of the parent, you would drop things in and drag them around instead, or what have you, or move them with a joystick cursor, or the analog stick. So there's different ways to handle that kind of stuff. But yeah, structure build, that kind of thing.